Hey guys, how you doing? I'm just checking in with you post new moon in Scorpio. Today is Tuesday. Dude, did I really sit down and not grab any way to light incense or anything like that? Wow, I totally did. Well, you know what? Anyway, we're going to get into it. To be honest with you, the number of times that these candles get lit, that the rosemary gets burnt, that the lavender say, you know what I mean? The space is held very well, trust me. This is a card from Drawing Tarot for myself this morning, the Ace of Swords, very appropriate. But I just want to check in with you guys because let me just tell you, like, it is. You're like, oh my gosh, you're going to tell us it's intense again, like we don't know. I know. I'm just going to say, you may very well feel, let me reach and grab my water. It really still feels, reminder to hydrate if you haven't, if you need to. It really still feels eclipse-ish. You know what I mean? Because of the way, like, the new moon in Scorpio is just further and amplifying the Scorpio energy, you know, and but it's beautiful. I will say though that Scorpio season is just really, I cannot reiterate enough. It's the time where we do the death work, you know, death of the things within ourselves, death of old chapters in our life, death of old karmic cycles, death of old emotional contracts, death of the things that we give our energy to that just don't serve us anymore, right? And it's grief. There's grief associated with that. Sometimes there's, it was like finally, I was going to say pushing a baby out there. There is a lot of death creates room for rebirth energy in Scorpio, but that's not really what I was going for. It's more like, let's say you prune a garden because you know that you're going to get great growth later on. So there's celebration. There's also grief. There's a lot of different emotions that come with, you know, really sitting down into Scorpio season energy and just embracing the depth of it. You know, it's a big work of kind of releasing a lot of emotional burdens. But I'm saying, like, in Scorpio season, you know, guys, I didn't want to make this a long video, but I do just want to check in and just remind us, okay? It's a beautiful new moon. You know, this is the first lunation after we come out of the final eclipse season. I say that, but honestly, and you know, we have all these beautiful celebrations. You have like Diwali, you have all of this different stuff. What else was I? Is it oh dang, you guys, now I'm thinking, what was I thinking of? Was it Wesak or Visak? People say it in different ways. Is that going on right now? Is that the no. Anyway, Diwali is a big one, right? You know, where it's kind of like celebrating the light, right? And it's so interesting. I have people that live in my area here that celebrate it, and I just have a lot of, I was seeing it come up a lot. So, you know, it's so interesting that we're in the depth of the Scorpio season and we see celebrations like that. But, you know, I had a teacher who I mean, I still have in the present tense, she was impressing the importance of when there is a deep, deep clearing of, you could say, the storylines, the timelines, so to speak. It's like a big, it's a big wipe your slates clean type of vibe right now. Is there a lot of ascending energies, evolution toward a higher, more organically calibrated, more authentically calibrated, as opposed to, I'm deciding to stay in lower vibrations. I'm deciding to choose that I don't want to heal. I don't want to evolve. I don't want to change. I will stay in the karmic. I will stay in the toxic. You know what I'm saying? There's a huge, is like separation between the tiers. And so it's just intense. Do you know what I mean? And what happens is, you know, the astrals, I'm going to say, kind of get lit. Okay. The astrals get wild. The lower vibrational frequential fields, as you would say, maybe entities, and you can use all these different type of words and terminology and spirituality and energetics, however it's appropriate to your own archetype and your own set of beliefs. But it's like, you would imagine that as Scorpio progresses, and especially as we have Mars in kind of like the last decans of Scorpio as well, we have, yet again, I'll return to that, Mercury and Sagittarius energy. Excuse me. It's this feeling of, all right, I am still working in Scorpio season, but I'm getting ready to kind of go up and out. I'm going to transform. It's like sitting in the bottom of the ocean. Maybe you're chilling with the other dragons and Scorpios. You got, scorpions. Same difference? No, I'm just kidding. You're not all scorpions. You're chilling in the depth of the ocean, right? And you're kind of looking around. And this reminds me of a different chapter of my life on its storytelling, right? It reminds me, and it's funny that the image that is showing in my mind makes me think of, it's like someone who refuses to stay in the bottom. This thing like the lotus is going to feed off the mud, but it will rise. It will come up and break through the tops of the water. Definitely Ace of Swords, clarity, aha moment, vibration. So here's what Scorpio season intensity reminds me of. It's like at one time in my life, I had just came through like a very hard, I don't know what are enough words to articulate it. It was a rough trauma, a very dark trauma. And so the way that I dealt with that is I had a very deep, I would say probably one of my first dark nights of the soul, right? And we go down deep. But then I had this moment. And it was, we'll say many months, almost a year later, where I looked around, I was like chilling with the scorpions and all this. We energetically, spiritually, emotionally, we're at the bottom of the ocean. Okay. And I realized a lot of these people are not, a lot of these energies are not, a lot of these lifestyles are not going to ever attempt to rise out of this. And it was just this realization moment. Oh, I'm not staying down here in the bottom, and then what inevitably happens, you can insert this energy into relationships. You can insert this energy into maybe a job that knows you're going to leave. You can insert this energy into, let's say maybe when you decide to change your eating or your physical body habits. It's a homeostasis idea, right? Why are you changing? Why are you rising? Why are you evolving? Because this was what was comfortable, right? This was the easiest thing to do, right? Are you not just going to keep on doing that with us? And it's this collective, it's like a hiss. Do you know what I'm saying? Spirit is always makes me think of that phrase, like the gnashing of teeth. Right? This is a real ass vibration, in the astral, in the ethers, in the other worlds, etc. But we're in a time where the veil is still very thin, so our ancestral support, be it your galactic or your ancestors in other timeline, other versions of yourself as ancestral energy helping you, you're not alone. We're still very much in that in between the veil, right? Because a lot of people feel you can mark. There's actually a couple different ways to calculate or view the lunar Samhain. So even from the gateway of like November 1st to November 7th, and then even from like November 7th until the first new moon, or some would say the dark moon, after the eclipse portal, we're still in that vibration of lunar Samhain. We're still in that vibration. I personally feel energetically, and spiritually, that this energy resonates really until Scorpio season is over. For me personally, that's how I feel it. The winds blow a certain way. The trees whisper differently. The energy feels different. I love that one of my friends shared a post, and I mentioned this last time, but I was thinking about, it's like a crack between the closing of one year, or you may say karmic cycle and the beginning of a new one. Um, which, by the way, does not have to be karmic. It can be very dharmic. You may say, I'm at the point where I don't really even vibe with like saying things are karmic for me. I don't participate anymore. And if that's the case too, I think that's beautiful for you. And maybe you might even feel more comfortable saying, I think I'm just learning and growing more into my own authentic self. And whatever is not in alignment, I will notice is just dramatically falling away. And so my teacher, she was teaching this like, it's really important, the first new moon cycle, the first new moon, that you're doing vision work for what you want to be in the space where right now there is a void. Because let me tell you, someone once told me that the universe loves a vacuum. You got a vacuum, you got a void space. I can't wait to fill it. And so if you don't really have a clear vision of what you want to fill and I'm not going to say that we're going to turn around and, Sagittarius season has a beautiful way of kind of shooting us up, helping us the rise like the phoenix out of Scorpio season. It's very much the archer. It's very much renewed mental energy and clarity. It's very much, wow, I really went through some shit and it helped me understand my truth. And of course, we've got Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus energies, and there's a lot of different notes that are helping us understand our truth, our wisdom, our abundance, what we value, all these things, right? So, you have Sagittarius season, which you rise, it's beautiful, it's the archer, it's lovely. And then you come back down into the body with Capricorn season, and then we close out the zodiac wheel in Pisces season. So a lot of what we shift into, we're talking about, as of right now, we're still in the stillness. We're feeling what that stillness and that void space feels like. But we're also preparing in our minds and spiritually and doing the vision work to really make clear to ourselves, to the universe. I mean, we are the universe. We're making clear what it is we want to fill the void space with, right? So I think that was a really good teaching that was super important. But, I'm just saying, it's a big shift, and it's a challenging intensity, because you feel that energy of like, again, I would say like you're at a crossroads, you've chosen the way you're going to walk forward, and you are not carrying a lot of things on your chariot. You are not putting a lot of things back in your backpack, whatever visualization works for you. Energies, entities, people, emotional contracts, attachments, wounds, triggers, etc., cannot continue to just pull and pull and pull and pull at your coattails. And so this is an energy that I think is very common that you feel around this time of the year. So I'd encourage you to just practice strong, energetic boundaries because it's such a tough time where we're already really in a deep space with ourselves. We are integrating a lot of lessons. And, it can be easy to be in such is like a place where you're in a depth of your life, and your growth and maybe even your healing, right? Or your grief, wherever you are at on that path in your death work. Just pay attention to your energetic boundaries. It's super easy when, let's say you've been running for a couple of weeks, or you've been changing what you put into your body for a couple of weeks. Maybe you have a new spiritual practice and meditation. It's easy when you're tired, when you're emotional, when you're processing a lot, you say, and your mind and your body are trained to do this because it's supposed to help you survive, but you want to fall back to the homeostasis. You want to fall back. It's easy. I'll just message this person. She always gasses me up with the gossip, and it's a nice distraction. And I know X, Y, and Z isn't necessarily healthy for me to eat, but I'm going to do it because it's comfort. We could keep inserting a lot of different examples, right? Oh, I know I've been glaring at that email or that DM or that text from so-and-so, ancestors and guides all over your spirit. Like, good and well, you should not. Right, because the age of Aquarius is constantly, and you can see it in Scorpios. It's constantly going to say, "Let's rise, let's evolve, let's calibrate more, let's rise. Let's keep evolving for our highest and best good in the way that we can support the collective in our community. It's this energy, the Ace of Swords is like, the sword is heavy. Did you get it out of the stone? Yeah, it took a lot of work. I fell down, I'm in the lake. Oh my gosh, but I'm not going to give up. And then the sword comes up out of the water, right? So it's definitely tough. What was one thing? There was an opposition that I was thinking about too with this new moon. Because we had a, sorry, I'm just looking at the chart for the new moon. We had the sun and the moon both, I think it was like a 20-degree point in the Scorpio energy. I want to say it was an opposition to Uranus that I was thinking about. Uranus retrograde in Taurus. That it feels like things that would have previously shaken you. Uranus is abrupt. Uranus is unexpected. Uranus and Taurus has a lot to do with a lot of things are shuffling around very quickly, and a lot of things are changing. So you need to know what your priority is. You need to know what your value is. You need to know how you view that, where you stand with it, where's your energy going, because things that may have tried to knock you off of what you're aligned with in the past. We want to be, sun and moon and Scorpios. I know my ego, I know my subconscious, and I know where my shadows and my trigger points and my traumas lie. But this time, I'm not going to be pulled back down. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised with Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces energy, Saturn going direct now. It's kind of like cleaning house in the astral. Is some knocking and banging going around in there. I wouldn't be surprised if you're experiencing certain dreams. And it's this energy of like, I have not dreamed of so-and-so in like 2 years. What in the world? You wake up and you're like, what? Like, I don't even really get into like gory stuff or like zombies and blood. I had a time where I was into it, but it just really affects my psyche. And I try to be careful about what I'm like digesting and watching and stuff like that. But, for example, like I had this totally random dream the other night. It was like all this death and these undead people. And for me, it had a certain symbolism, but it's like you wake up and you're like, where did that come from? But I'm saying like the energy is real on the astral. The energy you may be feeling like in the dream space, and it's still going to be that vibe of, you got to float the swamp out. You got to drain it. And again, with Mars, rolling on through some of the later decans of Scorpio, it's like we will persevere through our emotional depths. We go in deep, and we're going to go in there with a vengeance and with a power. It's kind of like there is not anything that we're going to avoid right now. So I feel you. Again, Mercury and Sag is helpful here. Very helpful. As far as like, your mental body really being lit up, with a lot of support, a lot of light from your galactic ancestors, reminding you of the work that you did in Aries season, reminding you of the work that you did in the first eclipse season of this year. And, there was this other image that I was hearing somebody paint as well. And it was kind of like, for as bright as someone holding up a big, Ace of Swords level of mental clarity, just like beaming out in the darkness over the lake, as bright as I will say, as much power as someone's brightness will show up with, right? Their light, maybe you would say, there's an equal measure of shadow cast behind that. And so it's not like we're not all doing our own individual work in our own individual ways. We can definitely practice compassion and patience with each other right now. I think it's super important. Yeah, I know you're going to tell us to be grounded and go out in nature. Yes, I am. And you know, be diligent. If you feel so called by your intuition, be diligent in doing your spiritual hygiene, cleansing, protection, you know, good energetic boundaries. And there are so many ways to do that, between smudging, between spiritual baths, between meditation, between sound cleansing. There's so many different ways. And you know, sometimes it's just a matter of asking your spirit guides, your ancestors, your team with your higher self to say, you know, I could never name off all the things that I think maybe are out there, but when I cleanse my space, I just want it to be, you know, of the highest and best good for my vibration, what supports my energy, which keeps me safe, which keep me nourished. You know, you could go about that a whole bunch of different ways, but that's an important practice to have going on right now. Thought projections are real in the spiritual and astral realms, real, very strong. And it's not like, you know, somebody ain't banging down your door and trying to, you know, grab you literally by the back of your hoodie. Okay. But in the astral, in the thought projections, in the negative, you know, in the maybe part of their grief work involves not having your energy to feed on, or involves not having you as an emotional contract that carried them along, and maybe was going to hopefully, oh, they'll work out my karma, oh, they'll help me, they'll fix my issues, oh, they'll save me, etc., etc., etc. Right? Because none of that stuff we are carrying on forward with us. We've worked too hard on cleansing, clearing, and strengthening our emotional bodies. Remember, we got the keys this year, all that. So we can't be going back and becoming, you know, spiritual, energetic, emotional enablers for people that are not going to be able to work through their own karma, work through their own lessons, to get where they need to go in their own time, on their own frequencies, their own timelines. Just tread carefully out there, you know, stay grounded. Again, really good spiritual hygiene regimens, really good meditation practice. I will say, as I always do, meditation is not the same for everyone. We all have different ways that we can meditate. We can be in nature. There's so many different practices to stay grounded, to call your energy back to you, you know, to have protective energetic boundaries and all that good stuff. So my way is not everyone's way, and everyone has their own way. Ace of Swords energy is very interesting coming out with this new moon in Scorpio as we continue to progress through Scorpio season, especially with Mercury and Sag. This is the energy of the truth shall set you free. All right, Spirit said loud and clear. You're going to have some clarity. You might become aware of things that you did not know before. This may be happening inside of you, but Scorpio season is well known for saying, again, Uranus retrograde in Taurus wants to help us, and sometimes it's unabrupt and unexpected. Sometimes Uranus likes to get our attention and teach us lessons by pulling the rug out from under our feet a little bit, because otherwise you might not have looked in that direction, because it was so uncomfortable, because it was so emotional, because for whatever reason it was so triggering. But Uranus's energy will say, listen, I'm in Taurus and we got to get them right on what they value. And this part right here, they're just not really seeing clearly. And I know that they're feeling triggered and a little bit wounded in Scorpio season, but we got to pull these strings back here a little bit. So it may be an energy in the Scorpio season where people communicate with other people, truths being revealed. And sometimes it definitely can. Do not let Scorpio season fool you. It can definitely be that energy of, I just flat out found out some shit that I did not fucking know. Oh my God. Right? Well, if it wasn't clear before, it's about to be real clear now, is what Spirit is saying. But with the Ace of Swords also, we can come into these moments where we have like a blinding clarity about ourself, you know, about our path, about our mind, body, spirit connection, about our consciousness, about our emotional healing journey. It's kind of that moment where you're swimming up, I'm coming up, making my way right. While I was making my way downtown. Da, 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 da. Anyway, it's going to be stuck in my head all day. Da, 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 da. Okay, listen, let me focus. It's like you're treading upward to get to the surface so you can hit your Phoenix rising moment with blinding clarity at the end of Scorpio season. Mercury in Sagittarius is helping you in your mental body. We have a lot of support from other planets helping our spiritual and emotional bodies. But I'm saying it's a moment where you kind of awaken in a different understanding because you couldn't just see it clearly that way before. But sometimes when we have those type of revelations in Scorpio season, it's more like a quiet wisdom. And sometimes in that moment of discernment, even though it aids your ascension or your evolutionary path, your emotional maturity path, right? Saturn and Pisces, it doesn't it doesn't always feel good. You know what I'm saying? It's not always going to feel super comfortable because it's going to be deep. It's going to be intense in Scorpio season. But these moments are massively transformational. Like Ace of Swords moments are like paradigm shifting moments, So, I mean, honestly, when we see the Ace of Swords come out, especially in the time of a new moon, when we are getting clarity around what intentions we want to set. And a lot of people in practices that follow the wheel of the year, this time now is as if you are dreaming towards the new year. And as we get closer to winter, it's more about calling, more and more, having your light stoked within you. But it is going within and doing the vision work to understand and to really tighten down and become into strong alignment with why. Why am I doing this? Why am I working here? Why am I writing this book? Why did I start out this business venture? Why did I plan the trip? What is I don't know why the word pilgrimage is coming to mind. Why did I receive this spiritual download? Why is it that I was called to use this gift? Do you know what I'm saying? So you want to tighten down your why, your vision work, your inspiration. And again, that is the transition from going from the death portal into the rebirth portal as we get ready more towards the end of Scorpio season to shift into Sagittarius season. So, sometimes you're asking yourself, Scorpio season and doing the death work, you would say, is saying, where am I just fucking unclear in my life? Or maybe I actually, the still small voice inside, the spirit of the universe that whispers inside of me with the vibration that it is that I know that I'm after. Why am I creating blockages in front of that? And what do I need to do in the season of the death work? What am I grieving? What do I need to mourn? What have I mean, you might say, look, there's really just this big old chunk on my plate over here. And I know that I haven't gotten rid of it. I know I haven't pruned that part of the garden. I know I haven't put that stuff away to do its death work in the soil to be recycled. However you want to view that, right? Whatever metaphor, whatever works for you may be part of your death work. And when we're doing this kind of work to find the blockages around our own clarity, so that we can really get clear. Because I want you to understand, again, on the zodiac wheel, on the wheel of the year, stepping outside of the Gregorian calendar, so to speak, this would be like your first big new moon, right? Boom. I've closed the second portal of the eclipse season. I even came out of that whole, remember we talked about the whole Taurus Scorpio axis that we're closing out is a big one in this season of death work, you could say, because we've been working on that for like a year and a half, And these times when we're doing this type of mental, spiritual, emotional work and we're engaged in it, we have to watch out, for our energetic boundaries because we can become vulnerable. And, it's always true, I think, that you gain the most clarity when you work on knowing yourself. And so with Scorpio, the depth of that work, the transmutation, the growth as going from the scorpion and at the lowest vibration, moving up through the snake, and then evolving into ideally the eagle at his perch. All of that involves doing your shadow work, dealing with your traumas, dealing with your triggers, dealing with your wounds, dealing with your spiritual bypassing, dealing with escapism, dealing with detrimental habits that aren't supporting your body, dealing with the emotional, I will say contracts, maybe you would say relationships, dealing with all of these things is the work, that helps you know yourself better. And then as within, so without, as we know ourselves, then we begin to see the world differently, and we gain really that aha moment of understanding that comes through the Ace of Swords. So what role do you play in blocking your own clarity? What role do you play in not really, Spirit is saying, putting the proper prioritization on what it is you desire? Scorpio season deals with a lot around like the taboos of what I desire. Why do I want this? Why is my community, my society, my family, etc., etc., told me that's wrong? You can't want that. You can't work like that. You can't be that. Why is that taboo? Why was my hand smacked? Why was I told? Those are a lot of areas that we explore in the death work and the personal evolution to then create room for rebirth in the Scorpio season. So, we're at the 30-minute mark, and I was telling myself, it's not going to be a long one today. But I would encourage you, please check in on yourself. Be doing your protective cleansing work. Be mindful of your energetic boundaries, especially as we approach and get closer to holiday season. And you never have to go where you do not feel comfortable. You never have to go sit in toxic atmospheres. Just be mindful of that. I would say create space where you can be in quiet observation of your own inner world. It's really hard to do the vision work that's going to create beautiful opportunities for you, let's say, come early spring season, as we welcome the return of the light, as we go into spring equinox and things are getting ready to come a bloom. It's hard to prepare yourself spiritually and emotionally for that if you are not doing your death work in the Scorpio season, so that you can create new space for all the visions that, maybe you've been given through spiritual messages and downloads. Maybe you have just evolved and understand that it's time for you to go on a new path, or it's time to embrace the things that you were creating blockages from receiving, right? So I love you guys. Be safe out there. Do a little spray down, maybe before dream time. Call upon your ancestors. Just, hey, protect me while asleep. And the astrals, again, are just lit. There is a lot of activity going on, and it's uncomfortable for a lot of low-lying frequential timelines, entities, all kinds of different things we can make a list of that may be very stirred up and agitated at the bottom of the pond, so to speak, right now. So I send you guys all my love. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing beautiful vision work for this moon cycle. It's a very important one. But again, it's more emphasis on making sure that you've done the proper death work first. Because, you know what I'm saying? You can plant a whole new garden. I don't know why, just go with me, but Spirit is showing me it's like, if you, this is kind of gross. If you buried a dead body out there and it's going to keep on popping up, like an arm is going to be sticking up, and you're just like, oh, no, you got no, I'm totally planning. We're going to do this in the garden over here. It's going to be beautiful. And, don't worry about that. And it's nah, it's going to keep popping up if you don't deal with it. And then eventually it could actually ruin everything that you're trying to grow because you refuse to do the work in the death season. So it's very important not to just hop on through Scorpio season and be like, woo, so yeah, I love you guys. I hope that, and I send you in spirit and your mental body with Mercury and Sag, that you're having wonderful mental body energy, Ace of Swords moments. But just remember, those Ace of Swords moments require you to work with your truth, to work with blockages around clarity, to do your shadow work so that you understand yourself, so that you understand the world and what it is you want and what it is you desire. I hope you all have a wonderful remainder of your week, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again soon. All right, take good care. Bye, guys.